Official start. Welcome to episode 3 of the Life Coaching with Ryan book club. We are talking chapter 6 of The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal. As usual, I have my, cramming words in notes that I'd like to talk about today. Per usual, not going to discuss every point in the chapter. This chapter has some really excellent examples. I highly recommend that you read every one. What I'm noticing in the most recent chapters is there are components of retread from past chapters. So she really is looping us. She's doing a spiral with the content where she's giving it in a new context as we wind out to the end of the book. So specifically, this chapter is about dopamine, which we mentioned last chapter as well, I do believe. But now we're not just talking about it as in general, but specifically how we expect things to show up in our lives. So I titled this, "The Cake is a Lie," for anyone who played the Portal games. The brain uses dopamine to give us the promise of relief, i.e., when you think, oh, that video game is going to make me feel good right now, or that sweet treat is going to make me feel good right now. It's just the promise of it making you feel good. It's not that it's actually going to make you feel good. The dopamine is the promise of feeling good. It's not actually what makes you feel good. There's a whole host of other brain chemicals that do that: serotonin, GABA, oxytocin she mentioned in this chapter. She also suggests, very interestingly, that we reach for what makes us feel bad in order to feel good, i.e. the thing that we feel guilty consuming or the activity we feel guilty about doing is the one we are most likely to do to make ourselves feel better for feeling guilty. Now, logically, that just makes sense. At the same time, for me, I think that part of it is that I resist being told what to do. I resist being controlled. So being told you shouldn't play video games, even if I'm the one telling myself, a part of my brain's going, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to play video games if I damn well please, which is funny because in acting as if I'm in control, I'm actually letting the urge to play the video games control me. So some might say better living through denial. Something to consider. So let's revisit the willpower prescription she gave us a few chapters ago when she was talking about exercise, sleep, etc. Well, she details it a little bit more this time in the context of dopamine and what actually makes us feel better, what actually makes us feel good in the moment. Exercise, music, massage, yoga, meditation, being creative. That was a fun one that I saw because that's very true for me, and I know it's true for others whom I know. When they get an opportunity to, doesn't matter if it's scrapbooking or drawing, composing music, whatever it happens to be, short stories, poems, whatever, there's something about that engagement that gets them out of whatever funk they were in, which is why you hear so many artists say, oh, my art is what gets me through these difficult times. So we have this experience where the dopamine feels more intense than what it is pushing us to do. So we need to examine, does this thing that I am doing, this thing I am consuming in order to feel better and feel a sense of relief, is it the anticipation of it that's making me feel that? Or is it the thing itself? And clocking that, again, whether it's journaling or having some type of contemplative practice, that's really going to be huge for us as we continue on our willpower journey. So remember what I said about self-judgment not helping? Well, that comes up big time in this chapter. This idea, there's this what the hell effect, right? That basically, once you screw up, you're like, what the hell? It doesn't matter, I already screwed up. Let me just do this anyway. I already ate 3 pieces of candy when I said I should eat 0. I may as well eat a half a bowl. right? What the hell? I already screwed up. It doesn't matter. Self-judgment puts us in a position where we need to self-soothe. When we need to self-soothe, that's when we have that dopamine response. And then how do we choose to self-soothe? With the thing we're saying we shouldn't do. What the hell? Let's just do it anyway. There's this dopamine loop that happens where now we feel guilty and we need to feel better. And then so we seek something to make ourselves feel better. And that leads us to feel guilty. And we just go around and around and around and around. So my opinion, the way I would phrase it, is you have to treat the cause, not the symptom. The symptom is I feel bad. The cause is what's making you feel bad. So there's a great mention of a study talking about how when people learn to forgive themselves, they're less likely to repeat the bad behavior that they're feeling guilty about than if they beat themselves up, right? Because if you beat yourself up, you're just attacking yourself for the symptom. You're not treating the root cause. So getting in there, dealing with the self-esteem issue, dealing with the self-compassion issue is really what's going to propel you forward. So this whole id versus the superego Freudian idea, incredibly limited, incredibly outdated, works for the earliest levels of moral development. If you've ever done anything on the study of moral development, especially in children, it goes in phases. When your prefrontal cortex is first developing, i.e. when you're a child and it's underdeveloped, you need external punishment and reward in order to make positive choices, or rather, choices that will be positive in the long run, not simply in the immediate, which is where this kind of animal instinct and desire of the id and the superego saying, no, bad child, do the right thing. That works for a period of time, but unfortunately it becomes the structure of our thinking. So if we've never been taught another way or never taught ourselves another way as adults, then that's going to be our default, which is actually incredibly ineffective, as I mentioned about this dopamine loop. So way, way, way more functional to say everyone screws up. What am I going to do differently? There's also this hope effect with dopamine where we go, oh, I came up with this big goal. I feel so good about this big goal. And then we meet adversity around that goal and just, because what we want is to feel good as opposed to wanting to solve the problem. Sound familiar? Not fun. So if there was Chael Sonnen, I don't know if anyone watches MMA, mixed martial arts. Chael Sonnen, while I'm not a big fan of him as a human, he was a fantastic coach on his season of The Ultimate Fighter, and he said, you need to visualize failure. So many people, they only visualize success, so when they meet a hardship, when they meet a setback, they fold, they crumble. If you're not imagining what potential pitfalls I might have, what potential setbacks I might experience, what actions, places where I might not meet my own expectations, if you're not considering that, then you are setting yourself up for an even larger failure through your self-judgment. So, think about when you are most resistant to getting feedback, when you don't want criticism. It's when you're afraid of judgment, when you're afraid of how that's going to impact your self-image. So if you've already forgiven yourself, if you've pre-forgiven yourself, as it were, if you are already in a state of self-compassion, then you say, hit me. Give me that feedback. Most successful people are able to receive critical feedback, and they can do that because receiving the feedback doesn't attack their identity and sense of self-worth. It gives them an opportunity to improve even further. So something to consider as you continue on your willpower journey. I am really enjoying doing this live thing. It's a lot of fun. I'm getting some more interaction. Thank you guys for showing up and saying hi. And I look forward to doing this again soon. I will catch you alls laters. Bye.